What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with the review for the haves and the have-nots. This is season 8, episode number 6, and the episode was titled The Family Name. So you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode review. I am thinking about doing another video. It might be up tomorrow because after the haves and the have-nots went off, it was a new show. Well, it hasn't aired yet. It's a new show that's going to be on OWN on Friday, January 15th, Bell Collective. So I'm thinking about, I know I'm going to review the show. I'm thinking about maybe doing, a meet the cast, what my thoughts and opinions of the cast are. But it won't be up tonight. If I do it, it won't be up until tomorrow sometime. Not sure yet. But we'll think about it. So we have one more episode left into the mid-season finale of The Haves and the Have-Nots. So without further ado, let's jump into this review, shall we? All right, you guys. So this episode, it didn't really bother me, honestly. I will say one thing that's still bothering me is the first thing that I have to talk about. It's Tanner and it's Justin. So I'm hella annoyed with both Tanner and with Justin. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly why I'm annoyed with both of them. So I'm annoyed with Tanner because Tanner is so obsessed with what, Justin is doing, with other men. Basically, he's obsessed with Justin's sexuality, which I don't understand it. It's like, if you straight, why are you worried about what your brother do? Like, if your brother stick his penis in another man's, behind, but that ain't got nothing to do with you, and vice versa. If a man does it to Justin, that ain't got nothing to do with you. If he sucks penis, whatever he does with penis and the butt, that ain't got nothing to do with you unless you want to do those things with your brother, or if you are in fact gay yourself. I really feel like Tanner is closeted because I just can't understand why he keeps beating Justin's ass. And I can't understand why Justin keeps sitting there getting his ass beat. Like, dude, punch, pinch, grab a knife, stab him, do something. I'm not understanding this situation with Justin. I'm really not. Justin is looking like a total bitch. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of him and I'm sick of Tanner. Like, it's just really annoying at this point. So Tanner is, telling Justin that he lied to him. Justin is saying that he didn't lie to Tanner. Tanner shows Justin the file that Veronica gave him. Justin is like, if you ask them, they're going to tell you yes because they're on drugs. I'm like, huh? How does that make sense? So they're going to say yes because they're on drugs? Okay, whatever. But once again, Justin is adamant that it's not true. I'm like, Justin, you're lying. But okay, I don't really give a fuck. But it was just, that's what's the most annoying thing to me. So then we see Mitch and Landon. So Mitch and Landon, you guys remember, they went to the bar in last week's episode. It was a lot of back and forth with Mitch and Landon as well. So I'm just gonna cut out all the dialogue that was had between them. So the reason that Mitch went to the bar with Landon is because Mitch wants to know more about Charles and more about Candace's relationship. If they love it, if she loves him, if he loves her. And Landon says, well, she loves him and he loves her. So, Mitch was like, so you want them to be together? He was like, yeah. And Mitch was like, okay, that's all I needed to know. So Mitch, says, you from the bill, and we're friends. And, Landon's like, we're friends? Really? So he starts shaking his hands like, oh, you got big, strong hands. And, he was like, but Mitch was like, we're friends. I'll be seeing you around. But he's like, you don't know my number or anything like that. Landon, you look really thirsty. That's all I got to say about that. Let's move on. All right, you guys, next let's talk about Celine. So I will say one scene with Celine in this episode, it kind of got on my nerves just a little bit, but not this particular scene that I'm about to talk about. So we all know Celine is working at the hospital. So Celine went into Wyatt's room and she's cleaning up. And Wyatt just proved that he is every bit of Jim. I mean, he was just so rude and disrespectful to Celine. Because he told her, oh, you're here to clean up my piss. I would have told him, yeah, I'm here to clean up your piss, all right. I would have cleaned his piss up and I would have opened that container and, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Wyatt. I didn't mean to throw it on you. I mean, I didn't throw it on you. I didn't mean to waste. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. I would have he would have had that piss all over his face, his body, everywhere. Like Wyatt is just like Jim. I mean, and Celine told him that. She's like, your brothers. He's like, my brothers. Oh, you mean those half breeds? You know, I honestly hate when people say half breeds. Like, I actually have a cousin for the longest time. He would say half breeds about biracial kids, and we would always educate him like, nigga, that's not what you call them. He don't call them half breeds anymore because his son is biracial. His son is biracial. His son is black and white. So I haven't heard that half breed comment in a long ass time. But yeah, with Celine and with Wyatt, they had a bunch of back and forth as well. But Celine eventually left his room. So then we see Vinny. So I don't know who Vinny called. He never said a name. So I don't know if he called Mama Rose or what, but he called somebody. And he was talking about Mitch. He was, he's talking about how he's worried about Mitch. And he tells the person that he'll have Sandy look into it. I'm like, you gonna have who look into it? Sandy? The same person who didn't want to do shit with Wyatt? Vinny, you setting yourself up for failure right there, trusting Sandy. But okay, I'm gonna let him have it. Sandy. So then one of his guys comes in and, he's telling him that, Wyatt is in the hospital and Wyatt is still alive. So Vinny's like, okay, I'm gonna go pay him a visit. And the guy's like, do you think you should do that? They had a back and forth dialogue. It was, do you think you should do that? I'm doing it. Do you think you should do that? I'm doing it. Do you think you should do it? I'm doing it. So then the guy also tells him that the cop that Vinny shot in the head is still alive. I'm like, wait a minute. How the fuck is he still alive? Vinny shot him right here. I mean, unless the bullet got lost, but that could happen. Not often, but it could happen. The bullet, got lodged in his brain or something. But I mean, it was point blank. Okay. Vinny's gonna pay him a visit as well. I'm like, the fuck? And I even tweeted this. I'm like, so do everybody on this show share the same single brain cell? Because I mean, y'all all have the most flawed and fucked up thinking processes. But let's move on. All right, you guys, next let's discuss Hannah. So Hannah got a call from Catherine in jail. And Hannah tells Catherine, that Jim was in her home. Hannah is better than me. I would have got a gun or a knife or I would have looked for a gun. I would have got a gun and pulled, what movie was that? Oh, I would have pulled, like when Diamond found Ebony and Lance in the bed together when she went in the closet and got that gun and started shooting it at Lance. I would have pulled that move on Jim. If you guys don't know who Diamond, Lance, and Ebony is, go do some research and watch that movie. Oh, they took it off of Netflix, didn't they? Damn. That is my movie. All right, so Catherine also told Hannah, because Hannah was talking about she's going to move. And Catherine was like, okay, well, why don't you take some money? And Hannah was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, say what? Your boss just told you to take some money. She didn't tell you how much to take. And you told her no. How'd I catch it? Go. No, ma'am. I be hot motherfucking damn. If my rich ass boss, I'm telling my boss like, hey, and my boss sounded a power of attorney to me, and my boss is telling me like, yo, I'm saying your husband was in my house. I don't feel comfortable with that motherfucker in my house. I'm moving out of this place. She tells me no. I'm adamant, yes, I'm moving out. And then she say, take some money. I'm like, do you have a limit? How much do I have a certain amount that I cannot go over? Like, is there a cap? But Hannah gonna say, nah, baby. Is there a cap? Is there a cap on what I can take? So then, Hannah also told her that, the accountant Don came over and she was like, what did he want? And she was like, well, he wanted me to sign over $500,000 for Jim. She said, did you do it? She says, no, I didn't do it. I'm not going to do it without your permission. She says, well, I'm not telling you, I'm not giving you permission to sign that over to him. She says, hell, go ahead and evict him. I'm like, again, Hannah's like, I don't want to do it. That's his house. No, Hannah, that's her house. Girl, Hannah was so everything that Catherine said, I would have done it. I would have took the money. I would again. I would ask her, was there a cap? I would have said, "Oh, you want me to evict Jim? Fuck yeah! Have the lawyers draw that shit up, and I will personally hand deliver the shit to Jim. Mr. Jim, get your raggedy ass out this house." So then she also tells her that Veronica is in default on her clinic. And Catherine was like, "I'll take care of that. I have the lawyers take care of that." And Hannah was like, "Oh no, allow me." I'm like, that's the one thing you want to do is get at Veronica. Do all of it. Take the money, evict Jim, and, go after Veronica. 3 birds, 1 stone. Easy as pie, right? Okay, Hannah, if you say so. Now here we go. Colby and Jeffrey. So they're eating breakfast, and Colby notices that Jeffrey's phone has been going off. It's Justin. And he said that Justin has called now 67 times. I'm like, really? See, Jeffrey loves this shit. Like, you can't tell me any other thing. You can't tell me differently. I don't know what I was going to say. You can't tell me differently that but Jeffrey doesn't enjoy this shit. Who the fuck let somebody call them 67 times in a fucking row and text them? No. After the first call, and then you text me, and then you call me again, your ass is getting blocked off from calling my phone. I'm not gonna sit there and deal with that shit. Like, did you never hear Destiny's Child? You make me want to throw my page out the window, tell MCI to cut the phone pole, break my lease so I can move, cause you a bugaboo. I wanna put your number on the call block. I'm not gonna give y'all the whole song, but yeah, Destiny's Child told y'all the whole shit with that. So yeah. So then they, oh yeah, so not Madison, but Colby. He was like, he wants to meet Justin. Okay, you already met him actually. And then while they were, talking, once again he called again, and Jeffrey says something's got to be wrong. Jeffrey, if you're not interested in this dude, if you over him, why do you care? But let's move on. All right, you guys. Next, let's talk about Celine again. Now, this is the scene where I got a little bit annoyed with Celine. So her boss came, said that his boss was there, and they wanted to just talk to Celine. So Celine is like, "Are you gonna fire me?" Here was another back and forth scene. She said, "Are you gonna fire me?" He says, "Come to my office because, again, my boss and I want to talk to you. Are you gonna fire me? Come to my office and find out. Are you gonna fire me? Come to my office, find out." Not without my lawyer. I would have said that in the first fucking place. When he said, "Come to my office," and I asked him, "Are you gonna fire me?" He said, "Me and my boss want to talk to you about what? What have I ain't done? What have I done?" That would be the first question: is what have I done? And if they, he says, "Come to my office," yeah, nah, I ain't coming to your office without an attorney present. And he was like, "You have an attorney?" I'm like, "Oh, you don't think she got an attorney, huh?" She's like, "Yeah, Veronica Harrington." So she calls Veronica to come down there. Honestly, with Celine, I would go to the office. If they fire you and they can't prove what they fired you for, then you got a lawsuit on your hand. And I'm pretty sure Veronica wants to win some money, so let them fire you. But whatever. So Veronica tells her, "You know what? I'll be down there in 45 minutes. She says, and Veronica has to keep, telling her, say, "Thank you. Thank you." Did she say a Mexican pizza or Mexican or taco or something like that? Whatever it was derogatory. So then we see Jim and David, and oh my God, these two are the bane of my existence with this show for right now. So we see Jim. So Jim asked David how did things go with, the Malones. So David tells him that things did not go that well with the Malones. They didn't really tell me much. Okay. So Jim says, he tells David that he went over to Hannah's house, and he's like, "So you went over there uninvited?" Absolutely. That's her house. It's my house. But she's staying there. As long as as long as she is, living in the establishment, yes, it might be. Actually, it's not even your home. It's Catherine's home, so it's not yours. So, David tells him, like, you can't do that, Jim. Jim knows that. Jim is just an asshole. Talking about he wants us to go to be at her funeral. I want to be at your funeral. That's whose funeral I want to be at. So Jim is telling David that he needs him to flirt with Hannah. I'm like, how stupid do you think? I know you probably think Hannah's really dumb, but she really just proved to you that she's not dumb. And anybody with eyes can see that if you send David over there to try to charm her or anything like that, that's a red flag. Anybody with common sense would be like, okay, why now are you coming on to me? You just asking me for some money, but now you coming on to me? I guess he really think Hannah is just the dumbest person in the world. So then Jim tells him, like, so hey, if I take care of Veronica for you, you take care of Hannah. I'm like, what the fuck? The fuck? All right, let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys, is this the last scene with Jeffrey? Yes, God, it is. So Jeffrey, he finally answered the phone for Justin. I'm like, dude, why are you answering the phone? I just don't get it. Like I say, Jeffrey loves this. There's a small part of him that is getting off on this situation with him, Madison, and Justin. He's getting off on it. Like, because why would you, seriously, why would you not block somebody from calling you 60 plus times? You're enjoying it. So like I said, he finally answers the phone and Justin tells him that he needs a friend. And Jeffrey's like, you don't know how to be a friend, but you can teach me. So then he tells him goodbye and that, he's going to kill himself. Well, actually, he said he's going to kill me, talking about Tanner. But Jeffrey was like, what is my mom going to do? He says, not your mom. And, he hears Colby in the background. And he was like, who is that? See, that's why I say Jeffrey enjoys this cat and mouse game. Like, you can't tell me anything differently. He enjoys it. I don't. I get irritated with it. I really do. Now, the thing that got me was Justin talking about he's going to kill himself. I'm like, Justin, if you're going to kill yourself, just do it. Please, stop threatening. Stop threatening it. Like, dude, if you really want to kill yourself, I'm pretty sure you got a gun. Blow your brains out with him on the phone. Now, Jeffrey is a little insensitive, I will say that, however. I mean, if a person is telling you over the phone that they're going to kill themselves, I know Justin has said it before, but I mean, if someone said on the phone that they're going to kill themselves, I would really be trying to talk them off of that ledge. Despite what Justin has done, I would be like, you're still a human. I don't want you to kill yourself. Like, you need to call the suicide hot. Actually, I would call the suicide fucking hot. I would three-way the suicide hotline on the phone. So that way they could talk to him and talk him off of that ledge. So once Jeffrey hangs up the phone with him, Colby's like, ooh, like, I want to know what it is that got the girls going crazy over you. And, Jeffrey's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Jeffrey wants to have sex with you. He's not joking, although he, when Jeffrey said, Madison would be mad. I'm tired of Justin, Jeffrey, Madison, and Colby. Actually, not really Colby. I'm just tired of the three. Justin, Jeffrey, and Madison. This triangle. It's irritating. Very irritating. So then let's talk about Sandy, the little bitch. So Sandy goes into Vinny's office and Vinny asks him, what's going on between Mitch and Benny and why is he so loyal? Benny, the black? Why does Tyler, I'm so sorry, but why does he have to write that into the script? That is so, it's terrible. Why do you write that in the script? That part I don't like it. Those are some of the things that I don't like that he writes. Like when he told, like the scene with Hannah and Jim last season, when Jim told her to call him Mr. Jim. That is a white man talking to a black woman, talking about call me Mr. Jim. And it was very condescending. And then you got Sandy calling people the blacks. I just have an issue with that. Because if somebody ever referred to me as the black and they're not black, even a black person, I'm like, why do you call me the black? Why would you call me that? You could call me sir, and I don't like people calling me sir, because I'll tell you, I'm not that old, but I would rather you call me sir, Mr., the gentleman, the young man, whatever. But the blacks, I just want to know, why would he write that into a script? You are a black man. How would you? And honestly, the act. I'm not saying anything personally about the actor that plays Sandy, but I would just feel a little uncomfortable saying it on camera. The only show that you could get, the only show in this current day that I will understand them saying the blacks is what's that show on HBO? Lovecraft Country, because that takes place in the 50s when racism is still around now, but and hell, it's around, it's just as rampant as it was then, but not as bad. But I was okay with, you know, them saying stuff, you know, them saying niggers and all that stuff on, you know, Lovecraft Country because of the time period. But this is current times. Who the fuck actually people might actually say that. You know what? I'm gonna let it go. So Sandy tells Vinny he doesn't know why he's so loyal. So Sandy offers to help Vinny. I'm like, you really gonna accept Sandy's help? Why? He's a pussy. Like, he did not want to help you with Wyatt. Why are you going to him now for help? I hope he fucks it up. So Vinny tells him he needs to know if Mitch is putting the family's name out there, but don't let it be too known what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, Vinny, that's gonna fuck you over. Let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys, and then to wrap the episode up, so David, he went over to Hannah's, and he tells her that Jim, he really needs that money. And I was with Hannah. That ain't my problem. That ain't got shit to do with me. I don't give a fuck what you want me to do. What's up? Actually, when she said that, you know, she was ready to show him the door, because she told him, like, dude, you ain't doing shit but wasting my time. So the door is right there. See your way out the motherfucking door. And I was like, exactly, Hannah. So then he tells her, you know, you asked me how am I, you know, I told you about my mother. And you said, how will my mom feel about me? Well, my mom wouldn't be too proud of me. No shit, Sherlock. She wouldn't be proud of you. You are a lapdog to Jim fucking Cryer. And Hannah called him that. So then he tells her, you remind me a lot of my mother. And, you know, I know that you've been attracted to me, and I've been attracted to you. You know, when I first met you, I really want to get to know you a lot better. I'm like, David, you really want to get to know her better with that ugly ass Dora the Explorer bob on her head? Okay. So David is trying to charm his way to Hannah, and I think Hannah is playing him. I really hope she's playing him, because they sit down, she's like, okay, where do you want to start at? I'm like, I hope and pray that Hannah is just playing him. And then the last thing in my notes is when we see Wyatt in the hospital and he gets a visitor, and the visitor is Vinny, and that is actually where the episode ended, you guys. So that is going to wrap it up for the haves and the have-nots for this week. Like I said before and earlier in the video, we only have one more episode left before the mid-season finale, you guys. As always, you guys, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else. Also, share this video. And if you guys would like to follow me on social media, my Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat are always in the description bar below. But my Twitter is Jbsayzwhat1, and my Instagram is just the same as my YouTube channel, Jbsayzwhat. I don't know what Snapchat is. Like I said, it's in the description bar below. And you guys, as always, like I always say, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember, wash your hands, wear your mask, and socially distance, and we'll get through this sooner rather than later. But that is going to wrap it up, you guys. I hope you guys have a great night or morning whenever you guys watch this. Bye, guys.